Are you ready to lose weight and feel better than you've ever felt in your life? I, the Minister of Wellness, am offering an incredible 50% discount code on my Lose 100 Pounds in 100 Days book, which contains the exact meal plan that has helped thousands of our people achieve amazing results. Take advantage before this offer ends by visiting theministerofwellness.com and use the promo code NEWYOU22.
When you travel out of Africa and meet individuals who have never been to the continent, most of the time they tend to have certain perception that depict the continent in ways that are either not factual or that are misleading. Today we'll take a look at 10 common misconceptions and stereotypes about Africa that have been passed on through various media forms for decades and are believed to be the true representations of Africa. Please share this video to as many people as possible, especially to those who are not descendants of Africa, because they are the ones that need to see this the most. Number 1, Africa is a country. Africa is a country? One of the most common misconceptions is that Africa is one large country. But indeed, Africa is a continent made up of 54 countries that are so beautiful, with each country different from the other in terms of political, social, and economic structures. For instance, in political sphere, some African countries have heads of states who are kings. The monarchs of Africa include Morocco, Lesotho, and Swaziland. Some African governments are headed by a prime minister, while others by a president. The 54 countries are all diverse and unique in their own ways, and it is therefore a myth to think of them as one large country. Number 2, Africans speak African. If you have traveled overseas from the continent, there is a likelihood that you have met someone who told you to teach them how to speak African. But for as long as I understand, African as a language does not exist. The continent is a stronghold for diversity, and with it comes thousands of different languages spoken within. It is estimated that there are over 2,000 languages spoken in Africa, with some countries like Nigeria having over 2,000 languages spoken by different ethnic groups. However, it is important to note that there are some languages that are spoken across many countries, for instance, Swahili in East Africa, Zulu in South Africa, among others, but this does not translate to an African language, though we need one. And number 3, that man and wild animals live together. Another misconception is that Africa is a huge forest, that man and wild animals coexist happily in it together. This misconception denotes that we keep wild animals like lions, leopards, as well as other wild animals as pets, and that it is common to see lions roaming on the streets. Well, it's true that Africa is home to many wild animals, but it's not factual that they roam on the streets. A common story is told by a visiting tourist that shook his head in dismay upon landing at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. To the tourist's dismay, he realized he had landed in an airport in a city that looked much better than the rural town he came from. According to the middle-aged tourist, all the content he had consumed about Africa, safari drives, and the wildlife in Africa made him believe he would see wild animals roaming the airport immediately upon landing. Number 4, all Africans live in huts. There is a common misconception that all African people live in grass-thatched houses made from mud and dung. Yes, it's true that mud huts are one of the most common forms of housing in rural areas in the continent. But it would not be fair for us not to mention the rapidly growing urban centers throughout the continent. Many African nations are growing and going through economic growth, which is leading to enormous growth in cities with brick and stone houses, clean tap water, internet connectivity and electricity, as well as other basic necessities that are accessible to residents in some of the world's best cities. The skylines of most African cities is nothing short of beautifully architecturally designed skyscrapers that have become a source of pride for their home countries. And so many people, as to number 5, think there is a lack of technology in Africa. Hey. Really, one of the most common ways slighting or insulting an African on social media and sites like Twitter and Facebook is by saying someone who has never been to the continent retorting, I don't know they have internet in Africa, or I didn't know Africans use computers. This is derived from the common misconception that Africa has been advanced for decades, that the continent lags behind the technological advancement, or worse, that there is no availability of technology on the continent. When it comes to technology, Africa has almost everything the rest of the world does. Although we may be slightly behind, technology is fast growing on the continent. For instance, Africa is the fastest region when it comes to the mobile growth. It is estimated that over 67% of the population of the continent have mobile phones and 27% of the devices that can access the internet. Simply put it, 27% of the total population of Africa have mini computers at their disposal. Africa is not only thriving on mobile technology and internet, but also on forms of technology and contributed immensely to the day-to-day life of the continent. And number 6 is that all Africans are dark-skinned. Well, this is also what I used to think a long time when I was in primary school. So it's still a common stereotype to Africans that all Africans are dark-skinned. And this is not true. We do have different skin pigments and different shades of black for different tribes and different regions around the continent. It is also important to note that there are also immigrants from other continents who have come to Africa many generations ago, and their descendants have settled on the continent ever since. A good example is South Africa, which is also called the Rainbow Nation because of the diversity. It is known for when it comes to the matter of skin color. And number 7 is that Africa is a continent full of corruption, poverty, and wars. This is really a misconception and stereotype about Africa. And poverty-stricken, full of corruption, and always at war, this is an incorrect representation of the continent that is so vast and with vast political, social, and economic differences. Majority of countries on the continent are peaceful and full of welcoming people. We have also witnessed free and fair elections happening with peaceful handovers of power to democratically elected leaders. On matters of corruption, some countries in Africa have been ranked among the most corrupt-free nations in the world of Transparency International. According to 2016 Corruption Perception Index, Botswana was ranked 35 and Cape Verde ranked 38 out of the 176 countries and territories surveyed. And number 8, that all African countries are poor and depend on aid. This is a common misconception, is that all African countries are poor and survive on aid. The continent is rich with natural resources, and each country has its own economic activity that their government pursue. Indeed, it is true that a huge amount of aid is sent to different countries around the continent, but it's also important to note that not all countries depend on aid to improve their lives of their citizens. On the contrary, some of the biggest governments and most developed African countries receive little or no foreign aid at all. And not forgetting, the West extracts more out of Africa than the aid it gives. And number 9 is Africa is a desert. We are in the 21st century and beyond, and there is someone who still thinks Africa is a desert. Africa is not a vast stretch of desert as many tend to believe, even though it is home to the Sahara Desert. It only covers a third of the continent. Other parts of the continent are made up of rainforests, fertile lands used for farming, and bodies of water. The contrasting landscapes are all beautiful in their own ways. And also number 10, that Africans share homogeneous culture. The whole of Africa to have one homogeneous Africa, and I wish it was like that. But hey, not once have we had an African being asked if they can jump or dance like Maasai or run marathons. And it is often a surprise to look at you when you say you cannot do any of that. It is a common misbelief that Africans share a single culture because they are Africans. This is simply not true. In fact, Africa is so rich in diverse cultures that no country throughout the continent is governed by the same culture. Undeniably, there are common cultures like the Ubuntu. However, each group possesses their own unique set of culture beliefs that they adhere to. This can be showcased through dress code, piercings, skin markings, and through food, as well as other tribal traditions. Well, what else have I left and what else have you heard about Africa? And you know for a fact that it is very, very false. It is 100% false. My name is Osie The Born Child, and thank you so much for watching, dear brothers and sisters. I love you so much. Please continue to subscribe to Africa Diaspora News channel, and until next time, please take care.
Colonization never ended in the white supremacist system. And as we see today, the colonization is in the mind. Now, those who have been enslaved and those who have been colonized, we're still dealing with the remnants of that through the colonization of the mind. Pick up my book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, and we will help deprogram you from the colonization that was put upon you by generations and generations of white supremacy. You can pick it up today on Amazon.com.